Okay, so it's recording now. So I think have you ever tried to use the master branch before? I think before we go to the code, we need to be familiar with the functionality of the extension. So let me try.
I did use the master branch initially, before I even began on the trial thing.
Yeah.
After that, I switched to the new branch, which was the rebuild branch.
Okay, so this is it should be the master branch. So let me try to use it. You search for something. It's appear things here. So because let's open any page. So what we can do here is that we can highlight text. So you can select the text and then you right click, you choose highlight. Then this text will be highlighted and it appear here. You can do the same thing for this one. You can highlight it again. It's here, and you can click on the highlight. It will go back to the page, and it will somehow find the highlight, and it even when you close the page, it's supposed to open the page again, and it will load on the highlight.
Okay.
Yeah. So and you can save the image. For example, here you can click on this one. You can set as page image. So it will use the image to show on the note. It will help you to memorize the page, to remind about the page easier. And you can so this is the highlight you make before. You can click on it. You can remove it. It will remove them. And okay, show me the highlight here. You can get it again. You can add note. So like you can highlight very long text, but you can add some short note.
Is that meant to be?
No, shouldn't be that like that. So it has some bug about CSS as well. So some pages it looks weird. It's some note save.
Oh, so it's replaced that
yeah, it looks very bad.
So,
So it's about to be very small icon.
Okay.
To yeah, it replaces the highlight here. It replaces the highlight because the highlight can be very long, and then you take a note. So the note is your interpretation of the highlight. So here it should replace, but this is wrong. It shouldn't be that big icon here. Let me try some other page. Let's use this page. Okay, everything is text is linked. Okay, let me try. You highlight it. When I click it, I think it will click onto the link rather than appear the option. Okay, it's still.
it has to be very fast. Type the notes before.
So you highlight and then you add some note. It's like that. It's a small icon appear here. Another note. We save it. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you want to keep those.
And of course you can remove the highlight. You can remove the. You can change the note that you wrote. Or you can say the text.
How would you remove the note without removing the highlight?
Let's say remove. No, currently it's remove both.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is more or less here text highlighting.
Yeah.
Let me have a look at what kind written here. The background of the selected text changes to yellow on the web page, and you saw. What about other option to get underline? What you mean here?
So
Like
instead of
put
make yellow, just put
different.
underline. Yeah, different type of. So
Okay.
that's
Let me just the
that's
question.
trivial, yeah. Just
Um,
change the CSS to say underline or put a little cross over or something.
um, will be saved to the node for this web page and displayed on the title. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
So it appear in the history map. Is it possible or good idea to have pop-up menu without having to right-click first?
So some software say when you select the text, and it will automatically pop up a window, say highlight or add note or something. But currently, but this just say.
I think we try to do that, and I think I prefer to make it very clear that you select the text and then you. I mean, it's not really too much extra action, because otherwise, you know, some people having this like when they read something, they just double click like this.
Yeah.
Some people.
No, so maybe make an option, say you might be able to disable it. But again, so this is just some ideas, it's not critical. Yeah.
But you mix the idea and the current version, it's a bit difficult to.
No, this page is just describing behaviors. So these are different possibilities of behaviors. So at this stage, say we haven't quite fixed on what will be the best design yet. So we have a version to start with, which we implemented. We might change something, and so that's why I put some ideas there. We might cross them up, so we're kind of nothing good. Or just say I'm going to do it later.
Click on the highlighting shows the option to delete it, which also remove the text from the history map node. Yeah, you saw this one. You saw this one, image highlighting. Draw like an image. Yeah. If the image is already highlighted, the user can draw like and choose to remove. Yeah, and you should be able to do that. Oh no, I think you cannot remove. I don't know, but maybe you're able to reset to something else rather than remove. I think.
But also, can you set one-on-one pictures for?
Apparently not at the moment.
Okay. And also, I also write there, so maybe some indication of the picture is selected, set for the page. The text you have yellow background, so maybe we can add it.
But anyway, you had the rough idea about the functionality. I think because the things document here may not be everything in the code at the moment.
Yeah.
You have some idea.
It really seems we wanted to.
For example, say when you load the page on the highlight before should be reappear. I don't think it's documented here.
Yes, that's true.
And when you click on the highlight, it should be go back to the exact that highlight.
And also, currently, if you click a picture, does it go back to that page and move to the picture?
Picture, no. Because you click here, it will just go back to that tab. Yeah. So click on the node and history, we make it the tab active. Yeah. That's what you just mentioned. Click on the node. Clicking on the highlighting annotation will make the tab active. Reopen it, close, and make the highlighting annotation visible. Yeah. So you can say it's scroll down to that part, and it blink a little bit, so that they don't know nothing. For example, to do it again here, click on it. Okay, so have a look at this. Now we can look at the code to see how these features were implemented.
So in the master branch.
In the master branch.
And before we do that, so I just want to repeat again. So I will still start with describing the behavior first, write these things down, create the test, simple high-level test, and then finally look at the code.
Okay.
Yeah. So don't jump straight into the code. Yeah.
Sure.
But for testing, you You may need some help from Kai, like what do you suppose to test? For example, how can you test that the function about selecting some text and highlight that? How are you supposed to test that? If it work or not automatically?
I don't know. That's
Yeah.
something you have to design.
That,
Yeah.
so, the testing will be tricky. Okay, I think now let me begin with the most basic thing, text highlighting. So this is the master branch. The master branch. Highlight. I'm searching in that. Okay, it's everywhere. Everywhere.
No, it's just called highlight.js, I think, and
yeah, but I remember because the high. Okay, let you don't need to search because it should be common sense. So the highlight feature happens on every web page, and if you want to do that, you need to inject some content script because you want to put something highlighted.
Okay.
So it means that you change the web page, and if you want to change the web page, you need to put content script. Then
Okay.
you can read the DOM and then inject. For example, if you want to do the highlight, the yellow thing, you need to put some CSS on the page. You put some markup on the page. So it should be on a content script. So you can open the manifest file to see the content script part, and you can see here you have the some bootstrap library, jQuery library, and the highlight.js and the content.js. So I get it should be the highlight.js. So here the highlight, here the content script. The name is not very good for this one, but it's very generic, highlight. So it should be in highlight.js. But actually the highlight.js is, I think it's not a very good place to look at initially. So if you remember what the beginning is, that you select some text and then it appear a context menu and then you select the option. So you need to do context menu.
Okay.
in content.
No, so the context menu, for you need to put the permission here, context menu, and the context menu is in the browser file.
Okay.
Because the browser is supposed to be everything capture user action in the Chrome browser. So because capture text and capture image, those capturing it appear in the browser. I think that's why I put in provenance browser. And so you can see here in the init function, that function will be called here. You have create context menu.
Okay.
So I'm using Chrome API, Chrome extension API to create the context menus. So you have, so this is how you create an option in the context menu. We have two options. One is highlight the text and to set the image. So this is the syntax. You need to look at the API to see the syntax. Basically, put the ID, the text that will appear when you highlight, when you right click. Context here means that when that option will appear. So for example, you can either selection or on the image. If you remember, when I select, I don't need to select an image. I just right click on the image.
Yeah.
So the context here means that when do you want that context menu appear?
Okay.
It can be selection, it can be on the link, it can be on the image, or it can be wherever on the page.
And are these contexts listed in the Chrome documentation?
Should be.
Okay.
So after you created these two menus, then this code will be that what do you want to happen when you click on these two menus. So that's why Chrome context menu on click. Let me close this one. Context menu on click, and you have two options here. If the menu item ID is highlighted, you do something. If the menu is save image, you do something. Let's look at the highlight first. So what it will do is that it send a message. Send a message with the tab ID and the type of message is highlight selection, and then it receives something back, and when it receives something back, it will create a new action. So create a new action, it just create a new action, a new item
In
that
the context menu.
no, that display in the history map.
Oh, right. Okay.
So highlight. So if you remember in the basic code in the review branch, if you open a new web page, then it will create a new action.
Yeah.
Right. We use the term action for let me open the provenance. Maybe just
What's that little symbol mean? The equal and then big greater than sign.
where?
D
Is it
after D.
This ES6
associated
syntax.
Yeah.
So you do that. Okay.
What does
It
that
just shorten. For example, if you do instead of doing this, normally previously you do this function A B.
Okay.
Now you just shorter A B like this. So it just
So the normal
shorten
function-
notion. Icon arrow function.
Sure.
No, it's
Shorten
very
that much.
yeah, but very convenient and convenient.
So we just replace the word function with an arrow.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So do you understand the create new action now? Create
Yeah.
new action means create an action that will store in. It could be the way that you can use to test it. So it will create a new action, similar to the way that it creates a new action when you open a new web page. And each action has different type. For example, when you create a new action, when you open a web page, it has some different type. But this one, the type is highlight. Let me go to this function to make it easier. Here, you can see create new action. That function have so this is in the old code, but you can see you have different type, like highlight or filter or something else. Okay, so let me get back to this. So now let's look at the magic of these things. So when you call this one, you expect that it will return something, and then it will return some information, and then you create a new action with information. And this line is that use. Do you know about Chrome extension communication API? Like here, it is in the you want to send a message to a content script, then you use that function to send a message. So when you send this one, you send a message, and somewhere else you will listen to that message, and you say, okay, if the type of the message is highlight selection, you will do something.
Okay. Yeah.
And it should be in the content. .js. Here. So content.js, you have a function here called response extension, where it listens to the message that sent from the extension, different type of message. For example, scroll to element, you will use that when you click on the link, click on the on the highlight, and we will scroll the page to some element, different response. Or if the message is remove highlight, you do something. So the reason that it needs to send a message. So I think that there are two parts. One is the main extension or the background page, and the other part is the content script that run in every other web page. So the communication is supposed to be between these two things. And because the context menu is the thing that happened on the main thing, that's why we write the context menu there. But if you want to highlight something that needs to be done in the web page, okay, let me draw something here.
What do you want to explain?
I explain the communication on the big picture. It's easier to.
Can you draw on your laptop so it's being recorded?
It's difficult.
Is there anything like a paint or something? Okay, you can try draw.io. Are you also? Yeah, that's also fine. Yeah. Have you used draw.io?
I think so. Is there a pen tool in there?
So that's actually the one we used. So we used this what's it called, MX graph. That's created using the MX graph.
Maximum 3. Okay, so this one is the oh, I'm not sure if you okay, but anyway, they synchronize. So this is the, I don't know how to call that one. Let's say the main thing, like the background page.
What's the file there? Or
I don't know. It's not file. It's just conceptual. So the extension, you need to have a communication between the background page or the extension part, the content script. So I have this one here, and I have like the content script.
So the first copy is the web page itself.
No, this one is the extension.
Oh, this is okay.
The extension, so, and this one is the every page. Like
Yeah.
And these two things need to talk to each other using message, so message, message passing. Okay, so the picture here. It can use to talk between different components. For example, between different the history map page and the knowledge map page, the different pages. So they can or they can talk between the content script. Okay, so basically you can see here the content script and the context of the web page and some blah blah blah. So if the extension need to talk to the content script, they need to use this kind of API. Okay, that's it.
So both ways, or
yeah, both ways. I think so. Yeah. Don't remember exactly, but anyway, so the extension. The reason is that because the extension have go back to this one. So when the user select the highlight option on the context menu, it will tell the content script that okay, the only information it gives to the content script is the tab ID, the tab ID.
It's lost. 4 years lost. It's been recorded.
What is D here? What is D here? Okay, so let's go back to this one.
So these
Send message. Yeah, let's look at the.
Yes,
So I think the first parameter is the tab ID. Okay, the first parameter is tab send message. Okay, it's not. There's two tab send message. Okay, tab ID and the information you want to send, and then the callback. The callback it means that okay, I tell the content script to do something, and it will send back to me something, and I will work on that. Tab ID, the message to send, and then yeah, the callback.
But where is the actual message?
Hmm?
Well, the actual message is just the type.
Anything you want to send, and in this case, it's a type, highlight selection.
Okay.
It's a bit weird. I don't know that because it doesn't send the text, so that it will be
Yeah.
highlighted. But we'll see how can
Okay.
it get that information. Okay, so when it, because of this function will be the same, will be for different types of message. So we only look at the request type highlight selection, and it will respond to it. So we go to this function to see what will happen here. Okay, so apparently everything happens in this file that will act on, it assumes that you somehow you only jump into that page and you run on that page. So get selection is a window method that allows you to get whatever you selected. It's a method from JavaScript. And that's why you don't need to send whatever text that's selected, but it can do it here. Actually, it should be done here, because it's only here that you can get whatever you selected.
So you can't get the. So you can't run get selection in the previous send message and the
Because the previous place the extension, it doesn't know what actually happening on.
Oh, that was in the background page.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it still has that information because it's the context menu, but you can have it from here. So
what's the file name for the background page? Is that called
browser?
Okay. A browser is the background. Currently, this file is content.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
it's just not very clear which page is.
Okay. Get selection, and then you can see. So again, this is the function from window. You can try immediately.
And so you're sending the message from the background page.
Yeah.
Can you do that from the content page directly?
Which message? Because when you highlight, when you select something,
Yeah.
and you click on that, so just that thing, I don't know, but I think that should happen on the background page, because that it should happen on the content, on the extension itself. Like the extension register two different types of context menu,
Okay.
and that's happened in the extension. I think the content strip is only when you want to get a job on the page and you want to make changes to the page.
Okay.
So this is a get selection function from the window. It returns you different types of information. the type range. Yeah. So here you get a selection and you say, okay, if the selection is nothing or if it's different type of selection, you don't care. You only care if the type is range, and you call this function with the only parameter is the selection. When you call this function, it returns something, and you call the send response with the parameter. Send response is the callback function. You can see here, send response. Send response is the last parameter. So
Yeah, from the callback it.
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the response
So let's
that
say
comes.
when you call this one, then outside I understand that the callback will be called. But anyway, so now we dive into the single thing here. $sign dot highlight. $sign is jQuery.
Yeah.
So now we go to the highlight.js.
So basically, it sent back the selection object.
Not yet. It called the highlight function, and it send back the result of the highlight function.
Let's go back to the last one.
You can see here. It called the highlight function.
Yeah.
And that function will return something, and the output of that will be sent to the send response.
The selection itself is the highlight is the selection object. Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it sends back the.
So the selection object,
Yeah.
that one is a window object. It's from normal JavaScript.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
send to that jQuery library, and that library will call the highlight function, and it returns something, and that something will be sent to that send response.
What is this highlight function?
We are looking at now.
Oh, okay.
Let's look at now.
So I haven't sent it back yet.
Yeah. Okay. So this function, you can say it returns something. Actually, it returns the information about, I don't know, about a lot of things. So this function, the first parameter is selection, and you have other parameters. So actually, this file is, I think it's quite complicated. We can treat it as a library, jQuery library. I get some code from the internet. For example, this one for something. So basically, you can expect that this file will highlight the selection and return some information.
Okay.
Because I think it will take a lot of time to read this file to understand what exactly here. Even for myself, I don't think I remember it. But because I put it in jQuery here, so let's say we can assume that it took a function from that library, and we can use it.
So what is note wrap?
Good question. I think that will be for the note thing, because you can take a note. So that one will be something about the note.
Okay. So this part covers the annotation and image highlighting.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be a mess here. So, but the thing is that it get the selection, it highlight that part, and it do something with the note as well. Do something with the display in the note icon as well. And just a bit technical thing inside. So in order to highlight something, you insert a mark element. A mark element is go for highlighting. You can add anything like span or the eye element, but they have the element called mark, and it's usually for that purpose. So that's why I use a mark. And you can put some CSS, and then you can change the CSS. For example, if you want to change to underline, you can change it easily. So I think in the highlight,
But if you want to change any of the behaviors, say, how do you add the annotation or how do you remove the annotation? We have to go into this file too. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But I think, let's say for example, if you want to change the way you highlighted instead of using context menu, so you just change the other part.
Yeah.
Right. So this one you can create like that.
But also say, for example, the box we saw earlier on, you have this very large icon for annotation.
I think that's for CSS thing because if for CSS, actually, because I use from Bootstrap the message box that you see, I use Bootstrap JS, sorry, Bootstrap CSS to make the message box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you can always use the normal like prompt from the JavaScript it display a normal box and you can enter and you can. It's just I think it's just about CSS because we load some style sheet from Bootstrap and that thing can interfere with the existing CSS in the web pages
Why do we need Bootstrap?
because their message box looks nice.
Okay.
Um,
There's no other reasons.
Actually, yeah, I think this one is for Bootstrap, but I already try to kind of minimize as much as possible. So we don't include the Bootstrap library here, but this thing is Bootstrap thing. The model message box. We can get it. We can get rid of these. The reason I use Bootstrap because I want to have a nice message box. That's it.
Okay. Or you can just format itself nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. I think the main one, SM note. It should have some background color.
But you still have to write so many CSS code anyway, is it?
No, because when I did include the Bootstrap CSS, I found many more problems than what we just see.
Okay.
So I just try to extract the thing it is, but it still it interfere with those pages.
Yeah.
And actually, you can see here I already changed the name. Like I put the SM here so that try to not interfere if they had the same CSS. So to make the styles name different.
Okay.
But anyway, it still have those problems. And if you go back to this one, highlight, let's see. Yeah, by the way, load highlights, it will be for to load on the existing highlight.
So when you switch back to a page,
When you open the page, it will load on the highlight. Okay, yeah, this function. So again, you can see that here. So it is in the content script page. So of course it doesn't have any information about on the highlighted that have been made. It needs to talk to the extension. So that I say, okay, can you give me on the highlight that you want me to highlight on the page? That's why it needs to get data from the extension. It send a message.
So extension here means just like background page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Background page, I think background page is usually the entry point, but it can be the history map page or something. But the extension, like it can have the extension and the content script. So wherever in the other part you listen to the message, you can respond to it.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think the one that listens to it is in the history map page.
So it doesn't matter. So long as wherever the listener is,
Yeah.
it will get the message.
So okay, I want to request the data,
Yeah.
and then obviously the response here should be the list on the selection on the thing that you want to highlight. Yeah. So respond dot for each highlight. If it is the highlight and you highlight the path, and if it's not, you highlight the path with something else. So highlight path is that I don't know, but never mind. It's just some function in the
I
here.
assume the highlight path is just give you the DOM path to that particular element in this highlight.
Yeah.
And then you can change, say, it to mark on the background.
You can assume that highlight the given x path. X path is I don't remember. It's just something because the page has a DOM, and you want to remember the position of that text was highlighted, and the way it can save that location is using x path.
So if you actually can say, I want to the first 3 letters of the second sentence.
Thing like that, yeah. It's a
It's
hierarchy.
more detailed than just
Hierarchy.
normal. Okay.
Because if you only say, okay, I used to highlight the text Middlesex, but then it could be many Middlesex. You need to tell exactly which location. But the obvious downside of this one is that if I just insert the new note there, like the day that I highlight, if the page is static, it's fine.
Oh, but if it's dynamic,
Yeah.
different, the structure
So it-
could change and
Yeah. It's impossible to highlight something in Facebook because the content will be changed all the time.
But for example, it's possible to say,
Unless you make a
when the
local
page-
copy.
Or make the page, once the page updated, to re-highlight. I assume it's because the page is updated, previous highlighting will be removed or something. But is that causing the problem?
No, I mean, let's say I want to highlight the Middlesex text, and I say, okay, that will be the third choice, and then some hierarchy. But if the structure of the page changes,
Okay.
like the page was published on that day, and then later on they add another paragraph in front of that. So it will not be the third choice, but it will be the fourth one, for example.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a known.
So I think content based only will not enough, and the location based only also not enough. Somehow you need to be a little bit smarter. You need to combine them, and
This currently is not done yet.
not done yet.
Maybe you should document somewhere say that's the issue. So
I don't know. Maybe already is there somewhere.
I didn't know that. I go through all the issues. I didn't see that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in the paper, it already discussed in the paper.
Sorry.
In our paper, SenseMap paper, we discussed on the paper.
This issue.
Hmm?
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
It's very technical.
Uh,
Not needed for.
Yeah, you can see here, in this one, the input is the path, and we say we need to try cache here. We say fail to restore because highlighted for some reason. Yep. Do you have any other question? Any question?
No, not yet.
Should we stop say this fine? I only have 30%.
So you finished? Or you finished everything? Or
For the highlighting, let me go back to.
so in terms of the annotation and picture, are they the same or it's different?
It would be handled in highlight.js just depending on the different types of requests.
Is that the case?
Hang on. Let me just go to here. So let's assume that you know where to change this one if you need to change the yellow text. Okay, will be saved because we send the information back to the extension and it will create a new action. And when you create a new action, that information is saved somewhere. Let me show you again.
Does that get appended to the node itself, or is that just separate?
Like here, it creates new action,
Okay.
so it will save somewhere.
So, yeah,
Okay, your question is that it appended to existing node or not? I think it's stored separately, but it has
Displays it.
a parameter say the parent is some node, so that when you build the tree, it will
Right.
know where to put it in.
So is this code currently in the review one?
No, we remove the highlight, so obviously it shouldn't be
So
there.
okay, so that part we can add that as well. So okay, so you just have a look at that one, isn't it? So
So
we need to have a look at the code in the SenseMap actually does this. Basically add basically what the response.
you can see it here. I think no, it's something right here. So if it's a highlight, it to try to read this one. So you create an action object, and the create action object has a parameter called from, the last parameter, which means the parent ID. So the from here will be the parent node.
Right.
Um,
By the parent node, you mean the one that it's supposed to be attached to.
yeah, exactly. So here is the last parameter.
Do you want to wrap the text?
Here's the last parameter. So here you can write the original action ID. So it saves the parent. Okay. Let me go back to this one. If we done,
No, you sure say in history map vid as it's called, where does it add the
I don't think it is in that one, but
so
because
anywhere? Because that part we said currently is not
yeah,
called
but the part that passed the list to a tree, we do that.
so basically currently say in the reboot bunch, if you just send this highlight object to it, it will add it to the history map.
Let me try to. So do you remember that we have some code that transform a list to a tree?
Yeah, list to tree.
Yeah, that part we will handle. That part we say, okay, this is the highlight type, and this is the parent ID. So it will be the link. It will somehow handle that part.
Yeah, so then basically it will display the highlights.
Yeah, inside. Yeah.
So you don't need to change any of those parts.
But I think I only remove that specific handling for the highlight.
Okay. Do you want to show that part?
I'm looking for it now.
Oh, yeah. That's the part.
And apparently, it doesn't call list to tree in the previous function, in the previous version. Maybe it's directly in the no hope.
But the function name will be the same. The file name changed.
Let's see, build the this here, reroll. Oh, it should be here on action added. Action push. But can you search for it later? I mean, it should be here somewhere. It should be here somewhere. And some codes should be similar. So you know what we mean by the list to tree function?
Yeah, I've had a look at it.
Yeah. So the code should be something similar there. The list to tree function.
Okay, so you want to search. So that's so if you can have look. This is what currently look like. If you keep the same function name, maybe you can just.
Because that's been deal with.
Now this is to capture the action. This shouldn't be. Yeah, show me the
Yes.
Okay.
Not much.
Okay. D dot type equal to link. Let me check for that.
Okay. Let's see if anyone will.
Moderator. Okay, it's here. So
Which
merge
one?
actions is in the mod moderator. Um, so merge action, each action is a change of data. Merge on changes to produce the latest data in the merge actions. And you can see that you build the parent and child relationship here. It's here. Take a note here.
Right.
Okay.
Or go back to the video.
In the full version, you have many different types of things. Different type. And if you can remember, to remember it embedded, because that node will not be displayed separately. It will be embedded as just another row in the node. So it's embedded. And the other part is a link. So it's not a link. It's embedded into the parent node. Okay.
What is the link?
The link is that this is the parent node. You open the link, the normal link, and you open another page. So I build a link here.
Yeah.
And this one is just
You said this link type embedded.
you can see now different function: add link and add try. Right here.
So this is depends on the MX graph library how it works, or
No. It's
doesn't
not.
matter. So this is how you call. Okay.
So anyway, it's here. Okay.
So
And remember that the embedded was.
you define add child means embed.
No, it's embedded here. It doesn't mean that embedded in the MX graph thing.
No.
What I mean is that
when you display it, it's inside the big node.
Mm-hmm.
But which one is for the embedded? Is that add link or add child?
Add child.
The add link is literally a link.
Yeah.
And child is inside. Okay.
I think the word makes sense, right? I try.
Not sure.
And you can see here what are the embedded type. When you highlight, when you take a note, they are the embedded thing.
Fruit?
Yeah, filter is a filter icon.
Because that's from SenseMap. Is that in SenseMap? I know.
It's there as well. I mean, it's there. The detection code is there, so it's just there.
But, okay, it does not display anything.
It display as with the filtering icon.
So you always see a filter icon in the SenseMap node, followed by some text or.
Yeah, I think so.
I've never seen example of that before.
Anyway. Clicking on the highlighting shows the option to delete it.
That would be on the
Can you guess where should be?
looking at the highlighting. Oh, that would be in the content because that's the thing on the page.
Yeah.
And
so when you click on the yellow thing, it's the option. And can you guess where the code should be?
It says content.
It's
the background page.
Yeah, it should be there.
Oh, in highlight.
So imagine things like this. So you click on the yellow thing.
Yeah.
And in order to provide a functionality, you need to, when you create that highlighting, you need to add some event for that. Like if you handle for the look event, so it should be in the highlight function. Right? When you create a Mac element, you say Mac listen to on click something like that. Right.
Yeah.
So let me search for a Mac. Like here, when When you hover, it do something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what they do. And then when I click, it do something here. But it's here. Okay. Image highlighting. It's not finished yet, but it's out of battery. Oh, it's like sinking in. Did you get that? Awesome. Image highlighting. User can draw like an image. Again, can you guess where should we look at it in the beginning?
Where you click on an image to
Mm-hmm.
create the context menu.
Exactly. So let me check the context menu here.
That's impressive. Yeah. Is it the context.js?
So this is the context menu. So we're done with this one, right? We're done with this one. Now we look at this one. You can still remember here, you create a context menu option,
right.
And of course that goes to them only once. And here you say you listen to whatever happened when you click on context menu option. If you click on save image, I will do something. Let's see what we do. So you had a tab URL to action lookup. So basically, it somehow get the action user image set it to this one. So you can see here what it needs to do is to override the existing image. So assumes that the
action has an image assigned.
Yeah, or it doesn't have any image yet.
Okay.
Yeah, so you just set the image field to the URL of this thing.
Okay.
No, it actually can have a look at data. So this is the whole node. Here, this is how this tree store the internal data. It's in the dashboard underscore data thing. So you can see this is all the information of the node. So image will be some URL. Here, user image is some URL. Okay. Yeah, and then it will trigger an event say the image has been updated. So whoever outside listen to this will update the image on a history map.
What is index
It is the history map.
History. Oh.
Yeah, you can see here if the image just update and then you redraw it. Yeah, I think that's on the image. I think SenseMap wrote here is some extra thing. Yeah. we don't have this one. We don't have the remove from highlighting. I don't think we have. And obviously you can think if you want to do this feature, you need to do it in the content script as well. because you need to go to the page, you need to get that image, and you need to change it. I think sometime in the past we already have that. It's not too difficult to do that.
And
And
just have a look how to really do it to highlight it to follow the same way. It's very simple.
because we do a lot with content strip, I just want to tell you about this page, content.js. So this page will we put everything about the content strip, but that's the thing that happened in the content strip page here. So the first thing only run when the background page has opened. So you need to wait. You need to wait for the extension fully loaded before you do something. That's not a good approach, but so load highlights. When you load highlights, you need to rely on the DOM structure of the page, right? And some page just take forever to finish loading. Yeah. Even though the content strip only run when the page fully loaded. If you know what I mean. So you can see here, when you load a strip, you can choose when you want to run it. And I think that is the last point in the life cycle of the page when you finish loading everything.
But you still have to say wait for 2 extra seconds.
Yeah, it's because the Google page it use Ajax to load, so it's done. When I say it's done, but it still use Ajax to load more images or things.
How did you decide to do 2 seconds rather than?
I don't know. That was. I mean,
said,
obviously, it's just some magic number which doesn't work well. Whatever number, it doesn't work well.
That on that, so it's actually to find some events to be more reliable and can be used.
You can see naively wait 1 more second. Yeah, even though I command 1, but it doesn't work well, I change it to 2. Yeah, if page use Ajax, we don't know what it's actually complete, such as Google search result page. Yeah. I mean, another approach is just you don't need to wait, but you do it. You put a time interval. You do it constantly, like every half a second, until it completely highlight everything you have.
Yeah. Or even just a test to see if you can find those things you need to highlight. If not, then say wait a little bit. But ideally, if you can test if there's any agents calls ongoing, they can wait for all those are finished. But I think that's also something Reday had a lot of people try to say. In the other part is sometimes you'll click on a link on the page itself doesn't refresh. All it does is create agent support to update more data, update part of the page. Ideally, we want to capture that and say that that's a new node in history as map as well because the page itself changed.
But I thought there wasn't a way to detect Ajax calls.
And I think have a look into. We can do this after this.
Yeah.
We have a look at issues. I think the way they find something. So maybe in jQuery or something, it will tell you if any agents happening and what is all finished. Yeah.
Inject links. This thing is for to detect the link between different pages, but I think this code has been changed in the review branch. So this one is for when you click on the link, it used to detect like which link come from, which page come from which page. Yeah, you don't need that. This thing you don't need it as well. This for some user study that we done. This is you don't need this too.
But you probably will need if you're going to use the same information in this user study.
Yeah, but in order to understand the behavior it's now, you don't need this.
That's removed from the
Yeah, that will be very very minimal. Complete pending task. Pending task is that actually something tricky. So when you load the page, I think that's thrown to. So when you click on the note, when you click on something here, for example, some note, it will open the page. So can you imagine what you need to do to implement that feature? To implement the click on an icon here, click on the text here, it will check if the page is there or not. If not there, you need to open it, and when you open it, you need to load on the highlights in that page, and then you scroll down to that element. You need to open the page, you need to load on the highlight, and you need to scroll down. So obviously you can only load on the highlight when the page fully loaded. I think the pending time is for that. And then when it fully loaded, when it finishes the highlight and you scroll down, so it has the sequential order.
So it's the same issue as before when you first loaded all the highlights.
Yeah, but no, but
So at the beginning, say you have to wait till the page fully loaded to display all the highlights. Here it's the same. You have to somehow wait till its page is fully loaded before you have to scroll to it.
no, but this one is drawn to the specific thing, so it should be after you add it on the highlights, so that you can scroll to the element.
But you have to know when that's actually happening.
Yeah. But this one, it's using message passing. You don't need to wait 2 seconds or something. But yeah, there's more feature.
But why do you put the same pending task?
Pending because the task you cannot do it immediately. You need to wait until the page fully loaded.
Okay. So that's automatically done.
You can yes. Run some task requested before content strip finish loading. Let me try to understand. Yeah. Okay, I go ahead now. So the page hasn't opened yet, so the content strip is not listening yet, because the page hasn't loaded, so the content strip doesn't exist yet for that page.
Yeah.
So you need to open the page. When you open the page, when the page completely loaded, and then it will load the content strip.
Yeah.
Right. So when the content strip finish loading, let me go to here maybe. When you click on the note, if you found the tab and you do something, if you found a tab, so the tab is only there, the content strip is there, you can only need to say, okay, scroll to some element, then the content strip will execute that scroll to element.
Okay.
The scroll to element is here. But because the page hasn't been loaded yet, so it doesn't it's not able to execute the scroll to element. It needs to wait until the page loaded. You say here, because you can't find it, so you need to create a new tab, and then when after you create a new tab, so whatever happened here is the point back after the tab is created. But anyway, it's tricky here. I don't think it's a good time to go into so much detail as this one. Annotation, I think you got that. Into the yeah.
Is that only the highlights?
Yeah, let me look at this one. After the text or image is highlighted, you got this one, right?
Is that in the highlight?
Yeah, if you highlight .js, because the same thing, right? You need to associate some event to that yellow mark, so it should be in the highlight.
Okay.
Similarly, click on the node icon to show the option.
For example, I want to change. So if I just want to click on the notes icon to edit or delete it.
Yeah, it should be in the highlight.js as well. So you just associate some event with the icon.
Okay. Because currently everything is associated with a bar, not with the icon.
When I open it, it closed after I.
You double click.
But I just search for it.
Yeah. Yes, it's close.
Um, it should be here. So here you can see I create an edit and add node option, and then handle something when you click on it. Now you want that we only when you click on an icon, right? So I will still remember this thing. Okay. This is the code that you this is the code that I use to create that icon. This icon. It shouldn't be that icon. That's one icon here. You can.
So it's not. It is a picture, right?
It's a picture. But somehow it shouldn't be that big. Somehow it. I think.
But they use those fake, not fake. So something from say something similar in Bootstrap, you could use a character that actually shows as a picture. That kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what we use the far edit.
The file is loading the picture, and that way it just essentially just HTML treats that as a text. It's much easier to associate other things with it. Well, I forgot what's that called now.
You can, of course, you can apply some style sheet for the normal text instead of using the real image. Just Bootstrap button.
No, it's more like I said. It's just like kind of special character to be displayed.
Font awesome.
Yeah,
that library.
Yeah,
but of course the Bootstrap also has its own image library.
Yeah.
But I think originally the reason I use this one is also you don't want depend on another library because this running on the content strip page. You don't want to load a new library.
No, yeah, that's correct. I don't want to use Bootstrap, but can we do something similar? The way instead of using picture, you say actually just put a character.
Yeah. Of course, you can as you can add a div, normal div, and then you can format it the way you want.
Or even just go through the ASCII. Sorry, the character set of say UTF-8. You might just find a character there which is good enough. Yeah, because they have lots of say it's almost like a picture thing in the character.
But I don't think that's a big deal, like an icon or something. But anyway, FI mean here mean font awesome.
Oh, okay.
I just go to font awesome and then take a snapshot of that.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, so you can see here it associated with some CSS and currently you can associate an event to this image and then do whatever you want to do. Okay.
Which one is it? Node is not. I think it's the image. Okay. Yeah.
It is the image.
Okay. Why do you call it node? Because it's a node in SenseMap, or
I think DOM they usually use the same node,
oh,
but DOM thing. DOM.
in DOM everything is a node, right?
Yeah, so I mean, this is instead of doing things like DOM, node is that two different type of variable.
Yeah, that's a node icon or something.
Anyway, yeah, you can implement that feature there. There's nothing to stop you to have multiple images. It just instead of replacing the image, you add it. You somehow you had the array of images instead of a single field, and then how do you display it is something else. But yeah, the content strip still be the same. Yeah, it's still be exactly the same. You do nothing. You just when you handle it here, you don't override it. You just don't override it. You just don't override it here. Selecting that with pop-up text window. Yeah. This one, it will be done just the same way as a highlight. So if you go to the mod file, when you merge the action, you can see here note here, so an embedded type, so it will be embedded into the parent page.
Refresh the wiki.
Refresh the wiki page. What did you have?
I changed the last bit a little bit.
You mean this one or others?
No, others. Or was called something very long. No, the first line was new, so that was not there. But we talked about this already. And I think we covered this easily. Yeah. These are
So that thing, to implement that, is the scroll to element file function.
yeah, so I want to change focus to true or something.
So you can here scroll to element, and what you do here is it needs to use the XPath as well. Yeah, it should be. We definitely we had an XPath. We find that position, and then we use the scroll to function. Scroll to function is some function from jQuery. Here, yeah.
Yeah. So is XPath a standard, or is that just created by certain library?
I think XPath is a standard one.
Standard, okay.
Yeah. But I just happen to use it because I think get some code from here.
Okay.
How to start the selection, yeah.
This means the browser would understand it.
Let's see the command here. Restart selection by on the path read to the capture, not only with static page. Running at two different time point may result different paths. Should can only run in browser. I don't understand the second sentence. I don't understand the second sentence.
That means even for static pages, the path may change.
No, I think I just elaborate on that part. Running at two different time points may result in different paths.
If this is dynamic page, it will have different paths.
Yeah, I think I should elaborate on this thing. Okay. Okay, so you can see that I think there are two options. One to find the image, because when you look at the image, is it? I think somehow it had the ability to scroll to the image as well. I don't know, but anyway, this code is supposed to find the node or the DOM element of whatever element you want to store it to.
Okay.
Yeah. And when you have that node, then jQuery has a function called animate. And because it had a function, this function to find the position, then you just store it.
Okay.
That subtract 100 to make that not on the top. It should have some context. Okay.
So before we finish, can you just give like a summary of say you maybe using the Lucid chart if it's still open, or just to show the files involved and their relationship between them. There's quite a few files involved, isn't
Yeah.
there? So maybe we just put the file name there.
So
then
let
maybe
me
even the mapping between what's file called in the master and what the file are called now in the reviews. The names are the same.
So I would say I'm not sure.
The background.
So
is
one is the browser. Yeah, the browser.js. That one had the context menu.
Okay, so that's the background page.
I will put on other pages a background page and the extension page when you have a content script. We will put in the content script. Because on other pages will be this is background page. This here create context menu and respond when the menu options are clicked. For example, when it's I'm typing something. I press enter, but I think enter will
Shift enter. You want to create a new line?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shift enter or control enter.
When it is when it highlights, you just create a new action with information written from the content script. Right.
Okay.
Actually, I think that the whatever terminology that we have in the existing code, and when it is the image, you also override the image field. It shouldn't be the exact name, but in the existing action or page business. Again, it's written from a content script, something like that. So this is the browser file. This one is.
So is that still called a browser, or just in the new code?
Let me check. It's called a browser, but on the detail I removed.
So inside the browser, it's only browser content file, and then
Yeah, actually, it's here. It's here main entry account doing linking. So the file is still there, but I don't think it's on the functionalities. The context menu definitely only be removed.
There's no browser.js in the new code.
You may change it.
Yeah.
You change the structure and you change the name maybe. But of course, this is to reflect the structure in the master branch. So what you have here in the content script file, to respond to the context menu, you call the function highlight from the library, or highlight path.
So basically, just change the format, right? Or change the markup. That's what it does.
What happened in the highlight function?
Yeah.
Yeah, it add a new markup and then it attach event to the markup as well.
Oh, okay.
That will be in a different box. I will explain later. This one for the content.js file.
Yeah. So for the content.js, it's only just like the change the markup or the format.
No, actually, this file is just called this function, and everything will be done in this function. Everything related to changing the add the markup element or changing or add the some different events will be done in this file.
But that's in the highlight.
Yeah, in the highlight.
Not in this.
Yeah, not in this one at all.
Okay. So maybe to say just why call highlight.js file or something.
Or in highlight actually. And you can respond to other things like, but not the context menu. Highlight action element. It has something else. It has something else, but it's not about context menu, like loading your highlights. And apparently about the highlight image, it's not here at all. It's not here at all.
You mean in some other file, or the code doesn't exist?
I mean in the highlight.js file.
Okay.
So you will not see something like highlight image function is called here as well. So I think that's it.
Okay.
But maybe it has. Okay. And now we move to the highlight page, highlight file. I should say of the library to highlight text, and then you can event this kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So index differentiation also involved in, or is it another?
It doesn't involve much. I don't think I need to. I don't think I show anything in that JS. But in that.js is a history map, so somehow it coordinates. But I don't think I show you anything.
You need to, so there's a file which actually do the, I think that's more to it.
Yeah.
Do the convert by using the listed keys.
Mm-hmm.
Really like the word.
Just highlight. Okay.
Any other files?
So we call index. Okay, just put it here.
This index with history map.
Yeah, I'm actually typing that. So it has a lot of things, right? The history map. So, and because it will display the nodes, so it will have the code to handle when you click on that in the Apple obvious.
No, is that history map page or history map page?
History map page.
Page, okay.
So the history map list has the code to have that, but when you click on that, what will happen? Now when you click on that, then what will happen will be handled inside, but it will need to tell outside that the node has been clicked, so that it can do something else, like store the information or something else.
That's a controller for history map.
Yeah. So for example here, but it also has something to do with response to content script. Yeah, maybe copy that one. Okay. I think that will be important. Like if you remember this one, um, is request some data to tell me on the highlight in some specific page. You can say here, what I will do is that I look at on the actions and so just retrieve the action that had a URL and the same URL with them. So if you look to on the actions that having the same URL.
What was P?
Hmm?
What was P?
They just a parameter from the function. If you remember, this is the shortcut, the shorten note, shorthand notation. But yeah, it make it easier to read. Yeah. So it's just the same URL, you return it, and then you do some formatting. Yeah. Okay.
Did any errors?
So this is content strip. The only thing happened here is the content strip. So these two mostly happen in the content strip in the individual web pages. That one definitely. This one because it's a library, so I'm not sure it's you may put it outside, but I think it will be only coded from here. It should be like that. So these two are from the content script. Um,
Yeah, I mean, in the history of I think there are actually so this is
when to decide it. I don't know how to connect individual page, not in the client. Okay. And this thing is the even though every the whole code is about extension, but it's done in extension. I'm not sure about the good terminology, but
background. Essentially,
it's not background. Background page is the you have the page for background page,
yeah,
and that is what will happen when you click on the button.
yeah.
You have the background page, but it's not background page.
No, but I think the difference is background is only one copy, right? Sometimes script you have one copy for each tab. Background you just have one copy even for all the tabs.
But yeah, this file you also have only one copy for.
Yeah, so in that sense it's similar to background code.
Yeah. Yeah. But if it's one background, then it should be foreground. Okay, and the relationship between these this one we call the function from this file. So as I said, actually, in any of these pages, if you want to listen to the content script, you can always do that. There's nothing to stop you. But the main thing is in the index.js, with in the response to content script function, most of the things it happen there. And to the content script, you will not see any say specific, not specific, but direct link. But the browser.js will find some event and this one listen to it to respond to the highlights. I can draw an arrow, but it will not like a direct function call. Yeah, just message API, messaging API. This one will from this one as well. I mean, obviously add a text here. Right? It will send a message, and this one listen to it to do the highlighting. And that one just simply call this function so that it can now convert data and then display it. Yeah, I think this is like this.
And how do you share this one?
Screenshot.
Yeah, okay.
You should probably select it first and then export.
Where the export?
It's download that. To spot.
Which part? Doesn't allow me to select it.
I think
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You want me to put it here somewhere?
No, it's not kind of behavior. And let me just put on the meeting minutes first. I've just created one for this meeting. No, it's not here. Okay, you have to go up. And click all the pages. Let's go today. Because it's drag and drop, please.
Not sure. But
Have a look here. You don't try to drag and drop.
don't really know where save.
Huh?
Don't really know where save. Is it saying downloading? Okay.
That's
data.
because you're in Markdown.
Marketing is almost with the other.
Can you do both?
But still, so you have to upload the file in file somewhere, and you have to access to the repository first.
You used to be able to put some like the architecture file or something here, and we have the image.
They have to put it into the repository first. To make it link. Yeah. That's in documents.
Okay. I can put it in the master branch. You have a doc. Oh,
Master doesn't have a doc.
you can browse the history, right? No, browse the window. What did you call it?
I think browser window.
Browser mean window already. Okay. Yeah. Anything else to discuss?
Any questions? You need to go back and have a look.
Yeah, there's quite a lot to take in because it's all scattered everywhere.
Yeah.
I do want to know what exactly you mean by embedded, because I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
So normally in your actions you have action.from to show you who the parent is.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you would call embedded, or would you refer to that as a reference?
So let's go back to that file.
Did you get the same when functions embedded, the node displays usually differently?
Yeah,
That's how we get.
I get that, but I don't know what it means exactly by embedded in the data structure. Does it mean just a reference, as in the attribute points to the new action created, or do you extract everything from that action and then put it into the newly node?
No, I think the real data structure, without talking about visual, is still just a link.
It's just a link.
It's just say this node has the link to annotation, link to a highlight, link to a picture.
Right.
But then when you display, this type of link is not shown as edges. These things inside
that's what I mean.
That's
so
not
it's
my
embedded visually, not as the data
not
structure.
in the this structure is just a different type of edges.
Not quite. I think the data structure as well. You can say it here. So add link is for the normal link, like linking.
Yeah.
And what happened in let's link here, this is the parent. So I always use P and say like parent and child, but it will put in the links attribute.
Yeah.
And if it's the a child, it will add it into the children attribute.
The children.
Yeah. So let's go back to this one.
Yeah. So you have another
attribute.
Array or
yeah.
Yes, but
to distinguish.
There's two types of edges. Or two types of attributes.
For example, let's look at this one. So I expect it will have a link to this one and a children that contain this one.
Yeah.
Right.
But you see, those conceptually, in terms of data, they all link to the two different types of links.
Yeah.
One type of link is all displayed inside. The other one is shown connected with that.
No, it should be inside data. Yeah, data is stored. So the children will be the sum node.
Okay.
It's an array, and it has some node. Okay. And length should be 1 as well, and it should be listed. Yeah, that's it.
So
Technically, it's started. And so before you run that function, you basically have 3 elements. The input array has 3 elements, and after that step, it becomes 2, like this one with a link to this one. It becomes maybe only 1, not 2, yeah, to this one. So it will be a structure. Then you will have like this smart one here, and so the output, I think the output will be exactly the same as what we will be seeing here. So this node, it has a link to this one, and this one will embed in this one, and we have this one. So this one will not.
So that is for video.
okay, but it's basically the same data structure as the actual other links to other nodes as well as the children node.
No, they put them into 2 different arrays.
Yeah, 2 different arrays, but they're basically like equivalent of each other.
Yeah, they all
Yeah.
linked to the same nodes with different types of
And the children node contains the different types like note, highlight, and picture, I assume.
Yeah. Nodes, highlights, annotation. Yeah. These are all. If you just look at the code, there's somewhere in the code what tells you which type is child, which type is link.
When I was first reading through this code, I thought children actually meant like the edges that are connected to that.
That's
It's completely different.
Okay. Yeah.
So
You can stop the recording and then upload that a bit later. It'll be really long.